Welcome back. As promised, we are here to do our video on all the grounding practices that we find work best.
Yes. And now these are not just all of them.
Yeah.
There's so many more out there. There are
Yes.
lots of great, amazing workshops and trainings and everything else that you can actually Google and look up. I'm doing one now called MindFit, and that's actually working with people with trauma, the first responders, and people in the military, and helping them learn these grounding exercises. So
Right.
So it's all out there. It's just you have to look and seek out and get access to it. And if you do have questions on how to, just contact one of us, and we'd be happy to put you in touch with or help you find those resources.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we dive right in with the practices, just a little review that grounding practices are meant for those times, situations, or experiences where your stress level is heightened. Heightened to the point where it's uncomfortable enough that it's affecting your life. It's affecting how you act, how you behave, how you think, like the whole system that we've been repeating this whole time. And regardless whether it's anxiety disorder or stress, when you are at that heightened state, where you're at that point, you deserve to know how to relax and how to calm yourself down.
Right.
And kind of, you deserve to act and do your best, I guess I'm trying to say.
Everybody deserves a good life.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I just feel like that, and it's about a window of tolerance.
Yes.
We all have a tolerant level of stress, anxiety, depression, with all of our emotions. And when we use these tools, we can, and if we don't, we can narrow our tolerance level, which means basically we can't handle things. Things are too much. This is we're overwhelmed. You break down. You have these real physical, body, emotional, as we talked about, that whole system reaction to high stress. But if we learn how to widen to open that window, we allow those feelings to move in and out.
Absolutely. And when you're in that window, stepping out of that window, your nervous system is going to react, like we covered in the last videos.
Right.
It's normal for your nervous system to react, your body to be activated, and that stress response to start.
Right.
And you cannot widen your window of tolerance, or you cannot, be better, I guess, without facing those moments of discomfort.
Yes. It's really about learning to work through the discomfort, because it is a natural part of life that you will experience things. But equally as important as facing that is that you have to give your body time to recover.
Yes.
And that is where grounding comes in. Because
Perfect.
when we're heightened, our body doesn't know how to recover. And it just stays up there. And the window gets narrow. And we just can't handle that discomfort. So if we can recover, and the next time we have discomfort, it's not like we're adding on and building an entire skyscraper. It's just sort of like, once again, it's like lowering that hill, that we can do our little rolling, strolling, easy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Just like there's recovery, the cool down in exercise, like you're working out, and then they're like, oh, now it's time for the cool down, and take your body down and lower your blood pressure and your heart rate. It's the same thing with stress and anxiety and panic attacks.
Right. And everything, I like how you brought up the connection with exercise, where you cool down or stretch after you have an intense workout, because your body needs that in order to perform its best.
Right.
These are the same things. These practices you need in order for your body to perform its best.
Absolutely.
So you can go ahead.
So with the grounding, it's focusing on your body awareness. And that's where the exercise with the stretching comes in, because you are doing that. And sensory. So if we remember our 5 senses, back in elementary school, they taught us 5 senses. It is the sense of touch, sense of smell, taste, hearing, and eyesight. So those are all very important because that is the key to grounding, because when we're at that heightened state, we're so focused on what perceived danger is, what's happening, like what is going on in that stressful anxiety moment, that we're not present, we're not seeing what's around us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called like a neutral stimulation sensation that we want to capture. So one of the best ones that we do, and it's actually in a lot of our pamphlets.
Yeah.
I'll hold it up.
So, and you look at it and you're like, oh, this is easy, whatever. But
this is also attachment. We'll give you
yes. But it really is just breaking it down, where 5 things you see. Mm-hmm. So in that moment, it might be difficult. List those 5 things you see. Once you can do that, you can go ahead. 4 things you feel. Touch the wall, touch the ground. Even with your feet, if you're standing on the ground, wiggle your toes a little bit. Mm-hmm. Feel like the earth beneath you. Mm-hmm. Things you can hear. And one of my favorite practices is when I'm doing this, I try to hear the noise that's the furthest away from me. Mm-hmm. So right now, if I were to do it, we're in our office, but there's cars driving by outside. I can hear them so very faintly. Mm-hmm. But like you said before, that's focusing. Yes. That's bringing your attention elsewhere. Right. Things you can smell. Mm-hmm. Smell things that are super strong. Mm-hmm. Smell things that are super faint. And what's the other exercise with the orange?
The frozen orange, yeah.
Yeah, right? So, and then something you can taste. Yeah. It's very popular now about like mindful eating, and how when you're eating, really focus on the food and the taste. And this is kind of why. Yes. It's
all pieces of this.
Yes, absolutely. It's kind of, like you said, just simplifying or going back to preschool when you learn the senses. Yeah. Because we get so caught up in everything else.
Right. And if we go back to science, the brain right now, our amygdala is completely lit up.
Yep.
It's like a spotlight, floodlight happening in our brain. So once we start triggering these other 5 senses, we start to dim the amygdala as we brighten these parts of our brain.
Yeah. I love that. I love that analogy. Lightning. Yeah.
Yeah. So it helps us. All right. So you mentioned the frozen orange. Yeah. Very simple. This is something where we have to actually pre-plan this. You just keep an orange in your freezer, and so then when you're feeling that high stress panic moment, and you're not able to focus or pay attention to what you're doing, you just grab the orange and using your 5 senses, you squeeze that orange in your hand, and then you just focus on that, and then you say it out loud or say it in your head what is happening in that moment. Oh, this orange is freezing. This orange might have a smell to it. It has a different texture. What is happening with the frozen orange?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, what's another good one? So we did the feet on the ground.
Yep. Most importantly, take your shoes off.
Yes.
Shoes and socks off, and feel the ground underneath you.
And I feel like this one is sometimes easier said than done, but that's the whole point of, for me, I view this one as an actual exercise where, okay, if you're trying to strengthen and lift weights, at first it's going to be difficult because you're learning how to do it. It's the same thing with the feet on the ground. Like, you can put your feet on the ground and at first you're just like, okay, my feet are on the ground. But it gets to the point where you can focus and you can really feel like the strength of the ground or the earth just supporting you. And like we said with the amygdala, just feeling that and sending those thoughts kind of all the way through your body is really empowering, for me at least.
No, it is.
Yeah. So
Yes, no, but like you just said, like for you, that's something that works really well. For others, it may not. It may be the frozen orange. It could be that. Other things what people do is they press their back against a wall. I can do that with the picture.
I know.
But all you simply do is, I think you can kind of see me.
Yeah.
You just stand there with your feet, but you practice pressing your back against the wall, and you just think about the sensation of what's happening in your back. Is it the wall soft? Is the wall hard? Like you start with the basics. You're like, of course the wall is hard.
Right.
But when you're panicking and you're stressed out, you're not thinking that way. So you want to start with some of the basics, and you want to feel how solid, supported.
Yeah.
Key
I
word.
love that word.
You want to feel. You want to make sure that your body and your mind and you are supported. And you can do this even in a chair, depending on what kind of chair you have. Press your lower back into the chair.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about supporting and I like the word stabilizing.
Yes, I do.
Where you're at. Another one that I often do with the kiddos is we'll go outside and I'm like, oh, take your shoes off, and we have them walk along the rocks, we have them walk along the sidewalk and then along the grass, and no, they're not necessarily in a moment of panic right there, but they're training their minds of what to pay attention to. So when they're walking, they're paying attention to the temperature of the ground, the squishiness of the ground, the roughness of the ground. So in those moments of panic, it's easier for them because they've already practiced it and they've already kind of trained for that.
Right. It was a great kids game, I Spy.
Yes.
That's training the five senses. What do you see, right? So
Absolutely.
it's the same thing, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you can play it in a fun game to help train your kids and teach them these wonderful skills that will help them in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we could sit here for hours.
I know.
Coming up with new ones.
But if you are having heart trouble and you have it very high and you're finding this, one of the key things too is 20 minutes of cardiovascular exercise. Get your heart up to where you're kind of slightly out of breath, and then you can do one of these exercises. It's about bringing your body up the hill a little bit. You're getting that heart rate racing, and then you're teaching it how to recover.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that theme is going to come up a lot in the rest of our videos. At this point, we're kind of, okay, what do we do when we're in those moments? And it's all about preparing yourself and kind of recovering.
Absolutely.
So now it's at the point where a lot of our videos are going to have multiple links with them to other resources. This one specifically will be grounding resources.
Yep.
There are so many videos, websites, worksheets. A lot of them are free. Most of them are free. So check those out. And like Diane said, if something's not working for you, or if this is new and it's scary, reach out to us. Yep. And we will be there to help you along the way.
Okay. Thank you. See you later.